What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Something a little different today. Peter drops big breaking news on us with new SGC pricing, and we got to pull a flipping Steve and record from the car. I am not in the home office, obviously. I am out traveling around today for work, so figured I would knock this out super fast. I have zero way to edit this video, so we are doing one take and one take only. We'll see what happens. If you're not aware, SGC did his little State of the Union, or Peter did his little State of the Union earlier this morning and announced some SGC updates. So we'll burn through these super quick and maybe get a little bit more into the details later. New SGC app. You'll be able to submit and track your orders directly from the app, in addition to looking up the pop reports on stuff. A few other things that he mentioned, but those seem to be the two big things: submitting and being able to track your orders across there. I know I end up using the PSA app more than I initially kind of thought that I would, so we'll have to see what the use case is for the SGC app. The two bigger announcements are pricing related. $15 for all sports and non-sports cards, and no upcharges on anything 2000 and newer, which is kind of what they've always done. So still upcharges on vintage and older stuff, but $15 across the board for all sport and non-sports cards. In addition to that, $9 for all TCG grading. Now that is, you look at the gem rate numbers, we just looked at them yesterday. That is an area where SGC does struggle. They do not perform well in the TCG market. They have ran these specials in the past, so we'll see. And this isn't a special, this is just new permanent pricing. And they did get a temporary bump from that. So we'll see if this has any long-term legs. I've talked to some TCG people, and they just kind of always mention that TCG just does not move as well in the SGC slabs. It doesn't comp out as well. Maybe that changes. We'll see. I'm sure for $9 a card, people will give it a whirl. The $15 for all sports and non-sports cards, I'm not surprised by that number. I know we kind of speculated on, will SGC do a pricing change in yesterday's video. They have their new offices now, new capacity. They are in and set up. The $15 number seems very specific. We chatted about this when they rolled out, I think it was, 2-3 months ago, when they rolled out the football special at $15. And we speculated then, or I speculated then, that seemed like a very specific number, as into, let's test to see what the demand is for $15 a card grading and how many cards we get in and what that volume looks like and turnaround times and that stuff and how we can kind of handle that. So I feel like that $15 price point was a test bed for this announcement. It's about $4 cheaper. I think $19 is where most people are at if you were doing bulk. There also doesn't appear that there are any limits on this, so you could send one card or you could send 100 cards. It's all the same. No word yet on if group submitters will have cheaper pricing on top of that. They also announced that their immediate turnaround time is dropping from $125 to $40 per card. I don't know. I just don't know that I see the use case for that, given how quick they are on regular orders. Now, maybe that changes with this new announcement and they get a bunch of business in the door. We will see. But $40 per card, I would rather just pay the $15 and get it back in like a week or two, because SGC is so quick. Unless you really needed it back for something like the National or a show, or you're getting ready to head out of town or something, maybe you could pay the premium for it then. But for me, if I was going to use them, it would just be the $15 per card thing and wait the extra week or two. Like I said, maybe turnaround times get a little bit longer. I would expect at minimum they will get a little bit of a bump from this for sure in regards to grading activity. So we'll probably see a busier September and into October for them, I would imagine, because it does take a little bit of time for stuff to hit the pop report. So we'll get a kind of a sneak peek on the September numbers and probably a better idea on the October gem rate numbers, how much this has kind of impacted their stuff. It's good timing for this because, as we discussed once again in yesterday's and on Sunday's video, PSA seems to be slowing down a little bit on value orders specifically. A lot of comments about, it's been a month for orders to get checked in, weeks to get orders checked in. Orders are going to die in QA1 and QA2. So Good timing by them to get this out there now. It also feels like, honestly, a direct shot at CGC specifically, because CGC is a major player in the TCG space. And for a while, they had very competitive pricing in both sports and TCG. And now SGC is going to come in and kind of undercut those numbers or be right at their numbers. And they already crushed them in sports cards. So I honestly prefer the CGC holder by a wide margin compared to the SGC holder. That's just me, though. That's personal preference. Everyone's going to be different on that. But this feels like a shot at them. So do they react? PSA really doesn't need to do anything at the moment. They're doing 1 million cards a month, and they have tons of cards pouring in the door. They can't even keep up checking them in. But I think there are some interesting ramifications here on the CGC side of things. Do they need to shake things up a little bit and maybe change pricing around? Beckett, I would love to say they need to react to something, but they haven't reacted to anything since about 2006. So I don't expect Beckett to do anything. I don't know that they can. Their turnaround times seem to be getting longer on slower orders, and their customer service / communications seem to kind of be in the same rut that it has always been in. So I don't expect them to make any earth-shattering changes based off this pricing, but CGC would be on my radar if I had to pick one. I have no inside information on that. That's just me speculating, because this pricing does feel like a shot directed at them, especially really specifically on the TCG side of things, to kind of grab some of that market share. And CGC does a really good TCG business. Once again, you look at those gem rate numbers, they really do take that down. So good moves by SGC. $15 pricing seems pretty good. That seems like where a lot of people want to be at in regards to sending cards in. And then on the TCG side of things, does this grow business? Does this grow market share for them? If you're a TCG, I dabble, but I don't grade TCG ever. If you're a TCG person, does this move the needle for you? If you're heavy in the Pokemon world or the Magic the Gathering world or Lorcana even, is this something that intrigues you? You know, would you give them a shot? Have you used them before for TCG stuff, and what was your experience like with it? Feel free to fire that down in the comments down below. So let me know, does this move the needle for you just in general? Sports card wise, is this changing your strategy? $4 less per card to send cards into them. Are you going to adjust how you're sending things? Are you taking things out of a pile that was going to go to PSA and now send them SGC's way? Is it moving anything for you that way? We'll see what happens. As always, the gem rate data will be fascinating to kind of see how this all breaks down. It'll take a little bit of time for this to kind of play itself out. We'll probably have a full picture come October, but that's all I got for you, boys and girls, live from the car, Flipping Steve style. We'll catch you, boys and girls, on the next one. Peace.